Hi guys, welcome to my first discussion video for my channel, Being a Better Human. This is where I would like to share my life experiences and what I've learned from those experiences in an attempt to inspire someone out there and help them through their dark time. And if you find this helpful, maybe it does inspire you or gives you some information that you can share with someone else, please like, share, and subscribe. Don't hesitate to comment in the comment section and give me your input. So today's video is one that is very difficult for me, but I want to get through it. I think that it can help someone else. It's about the single most darkest day of my life, and I came back from that day, the day that I almost took my own life. And where I'm at now versus where I was beforehand, I feel that I've healed and grew with that experience. And I didn't think that I would ever be in that experience in the first place. But I was. And so hopefully you guys can take something from this, and hopefully I can get through it without too many waterworks. But here we go. So, digging out of the darkness. Well, who am I in the first place, and what does it matter? I'm not anybody special. I'm just another guy. I have a wife and 2 kids. I have 2 younger sisters. I have a mom and dad that are still married today. I'm not anybody special. I'm not anybody different. I'm a fully functioning, intelligent person. Found myself in a place where I no longer wanted to live. And there was a lot of factors that played into that. And so I'll touch on a few of them. In 2014, my dad was on his way to work, and he had a massive stroke. And he was driving in his car when it happened. He found himself unable to drive, really, and not be able to handle what was going on around him. And he ran a red light at a very busy intersection. And thankfully, he was not hit by anyone, and he did not hit anybody. But the police did see this, and they put their lights on him and managed to pull him over. And at first, they thought that he was maybe a drunk driver, but then they soon realized what was going on medically, and they called ambulance. And I got a call at 10 o'clock that night from my mom saying that my dad was in the hospital. And to fast forward, there was a whole lot of recovery, but thankfully he made it. When a week in ICU down at St. Joe's in Pontiac, and a whole lot of other stuff that happened. That by itself would be enough to really upset someone. But unfortunately, I had kind of a perfect storm of stuff. And at the same time, the oldest of my 2 sisters was having her own problems that I was trying to help her with. And she lost her home. Not for any particular reason of her own. It wasn't for lack of payment or anything, but in ill arrangement with who they were living, or who they had their house with. It totally threw her world upside down. I was trying to help her with that. I was trying to help my mom and dad. And then my other sister was having her own problems with her relationship and medical problems from being pregnant. And everything just culminated all at once. And I was trying to help these people. Part of this channel is talking about helping people. I should help those people. And I would do it again. It's just the difference now is I know what I can control. I know what is my fault, what isn't. When things are out of your control, there's nothing that you can do. You can't fret about it. You can't dwell on it, because then it'll just push you over the edge like it did me. I have this bad stuff happening to me. So what? Why does that matter? Well, it wasn't really the bad things that were happening around me that really broke me. It was my own self-criticism. I thought that all I was doing wasn't enough, and if I had done more, maybe they wouldn't be in those places. I really kind of felt like a complete failure because all of these people that I loved, that I cared for, that I was fighting for, they all had my help, and I did nothing. I didn't help them come out of any of their situation. So I thought. But it wasn't my actions that were hindering the process. It wasn't anything that I was doing that was causing them not to succeed. There was outstanding factors that I had no control over. Why should I have the fire to fight for anybody? Because I wasn't doing any good. And so that's when I decided what I did and had the plan set, and I was on my way to execute. And something, I don't know what, but somewhere there was something inside me that made me change my route. I made an emergency pit stop to my counselor, and I don't think that I can stress enough, even though I'm trying to reach out and help people and do what I can with these videos, it's no substitute for the help of a professional. And like I said, I'm nobody with anything but experience. A professional gets paid to do what they do for a reason. And if it wasn't for my counselor, I would not be here today. He honestly saved my life. I didn't have a scheduled appointment or anything. I walked into the office and I was an emotional wreck, crying, and said, can I please see him? And so we sat down and we talked about it. What was going on and why I felt the way I did and everything leading up to that. And he asked me if I could promise him that I wasn't going to hurt myself or someone else. And I said, no, I can't promise that. I am not sure of anything right now. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it tomorrow. And he said, well, if you don't make some phone calls, if you don't remove the weapons from your house, I have to call the police, and you will be taken until it's determined that you're not a threat to yourself or someone else. And so I had to make a call, and I leaned on a friend. Something that I want everyone to take from this: there are times where you need to lean on your friends. Whether you want to ask for it or not, you have to, because you just don't have the strength to make it, or they can help you in a way that you can't help yourself. And so I called a friend and said, I need you to not ask me any questions right now. I need you to just do this. And he did. So going into that phone call, before that, I perceived like I had no help. My life sucks and woe is me, and it wouldn't matter if I took my own life because nobody would care anyways, because it's not like I'm helping anyone, and I have tried to help all these people and nobody's helping me, and here I am upset and down and just feel like crap, and nobody's helping me. And I really want to stress that when a person gets to the point where they are seriously contemplating taking their own life, when suicide feels like your only option left, don't ever think that it is a selfish play or the coward's way out, because that is absolutely not what is going on in that person's mind at that time. I felt like I was completely worthless, and that I would be doing my family and friends a favor. I would be helping them out by not bothering them anymore, by not being there. And I honestly felt that way. How did I come back from that day? After the phone call was made and weapons were taken out of my house, I had to kind of self-retreat a little bit. Once everything was cleared with my counselor, then it was a battle every hour of every day for the first few weeks. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. Once you get to that point, you have to dig your way out of your dark hole. It's a battle for every hour. What can I find that's going to inspire me to live for the next hour? And you have to look and find something. You don't really have a choice at that point. It's find that good thing that can help you through the next hour, or you retreat right back to where you were. And eventually you get to build a little momentum. Okay, I made it through this hour. Let's make it to the next one. And let's make it to the next one. And then, next thing you know, you made it through a whole day. And you found some positive in that day. And it kind of fills the hole that's in your chest. And once you do that for a few days in a row, then, hey, I'm doing okay. And next thing I know, I made it a week. And then every week after that got a little bit easier. But none of it was easy. It was just easier than the hour before. But then you start to change your mindset. Finding that positive in your mind every day will help you no matter what. Even if you are not a person that's in that dark place, looking for a happy thing in your day, bringing joy to someone else in your day will just make you be a happier person. It's totally about perspective. If you're just looking for the negative every day, you're going to find it because there's a ton of it to be found. You have to look, and some days it's harder to find those positives. So, either you have to look bigger at, well, I'm not doing good, but my family's doing good. Or maybe you have to look a little smaller. I'm not having a whole lot of good around me right now, but, it's really pretty outside, enjoy nature, take in the little things in life. And it always seems silly at the time, but that idea of taking a minute to smell the roses and admire the sunset, if you can find joy in that and it helps you get through another day, you need to do it, and you need to do it every day. And that's what I had to start doing. And that practice lifted me up higher than I had ever been before that. So you have to get to a point where you're making it every day. But how do you do that? How do you keep going? How is it that you're able to find happy? Well, then you got to kind of expand your support network and maybe talk to some people about some stuff that's bothering you. And if you do that, if you expand your support network, you know that there's more people that care about you. You know that you're not alone, you're not isolated. And trust me, at the time where I went to my counselor, I felt absolutely lonely. I was the loneliest person in the world, and I needed to not bother anyone. And you don't only expand it for yourself, but you expand it for others as well, because even though you're dealing with a hard time, there's somebody somewhere who's having a harder time. The rewards that you get from helping someone else through their hard time is way more than any type of hours of meditation and introspective that I've ever had. Being able to help somebody else, it rewards them, it rewards me, and it fills me with more joy than I can create myself. And once you start helping other people, you'll want to do it more because you feel so good. You have to make sure that you don't spread yourself too thin. And in my case, going into that day, I think maybe I did. I had been trying to help everyone else around me, and I didn't really take time for myself. And if you get spread too thin, I mean, as an emotional human, there's only so much weight that you can take sometimes. Emotions are exhausting, and you can't just burn the candle at both ends and continue to be healthy physically, mentally, emotionally. It just doesn't work that way. And so let's move on to some more things that you can do once you've gotten to that point where you're functioning every day. Things to help keep you going so you don't have a backslide. Once you identify the things that you can and can't control, it makes it a whole lot easier, because if you look at all of these things and there's so much going on, and sometimes it's just overwhelming. And same with like your goals. If you're trying to accomplish so much in life, if you look at all of the factors involved and all the obstacles that you have ahead of you, it can be just devastating, and then you don't have the motivation to continue. The same thing comes with emotional healing. Once you identify what you can and cannot control, every single one of your relationships is going to be better, because you're not worrying about all these other things that don't matter. You have more time to focus on what you can control and do what you can to make those things better. Don't sit there and stew on it. Being inside your head is absolutely the worst place you can be sometimes. Once you are able to let it go and move on in your day, and not stew on those negative things, your overall day is going to be better. Your overall health is going to be better, because you're not inside your own mind making yourself more upset. It might seem silly, but one of the things that really is going to do a lot for you is large muscle exertion. You're going out and working out, playing basketball, playing a game of golf, disc golf, whatever. If you distract yourself with these exercises, you don't have a choice but to focus on that exercise, not what's in your head making you crazy. And the large muscle exertion will help relieve a lot of stress. And I know it's preached a lot of the time, go out and exercise and whatever. It's true, man. If you go to the gym or you run or whatever, there's never a time once you get done with that exercise, when you get done with that activity, where you're like, man, that was terrible and I shouldn't have done that. A lot of the times coming back from the gym, it's like, oh man, I feel great, because you just kind of like sweat out all that negative energy. All right, guys, I think that's going to do it for me today. But remember, your journey to being a better human doesn't have to be a solo trip. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.